won't come all spontaneous views. This is gonna kind of be like a freelance. It's gonna be just a real quick, brief discussion on a polite situation, just to kind of reinforce what I was saying on my last video. Little bit of information that I've learned after the fact, but I'm not gonna really dedicate this video to that situation. That's why I said it's gonna be kind of like a freelance. Once again, I'm in traffic, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes you got to sacrifice what you want, to be in these situations. Good thing about it though, I only deal with it like 3 days a week. So, but anyway, just to go back on the polite thing. For one, I've learned that the mother was actually one of his wives. But I've heard that before, but I think I was just kind of like, on my last video, I was really just trying to give a brief history of him and my, over my last 10 years of knowing him. But anyway, the mother in this case is basically one of his wives. So if you look at the situation, it was really him, I don't want to say the M word, but taking advantage of his stepdaughter, if you really look at it now. And that's even more crazy and sick, and it's twisted, and it's like, I don't want people to think that I was, when I did my last video, that like I was on his side or anything like that, or trying to separate what he's done as a human being versus what he's been accused of now. Even though I said it was alleged the last time, it really wasn't alleged. He pleaded guilty to 7 years, you know what I'm saying, of child misconduct. And he has, again, this, and I, went around after my video hearing certain people talk about it. And, people are attacking like the Sinettas and, saying that he was my brother. Sinetta was being real about this situation, about it. He wasn't really, everybody knew that Sinetta and Brother Polite was cool. That's not nothing new. Like, I'm not going to go on his platform or go on under his comments on a video and attack him just because he's associated with somebody. That's really what I was trying to get from the last video. Like, I don't want people to just get it misconstrued that you're going to associate yourself with that party just be, you don't know what people do in the dark. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear something like this, like, yes, it's definitely a tarnishment on his career and everything that he's done. And that's the crazy part about it. It's like, dang, do you just throw the baby out with the bathwater or what? But anyway, it was really his one of his wives. And the fact that he's, even though he's still on social media, basically saying that, or putting up these videos about him talking about the case prior to the actual conviction. Then I come to find out, this dude, out of all people, like, he got to be one of the snakiest dudes. And it's crazy because he was hanging out at a club the night before he pleaded. Had these little signs saying all charges dropped or something. Like, had this prancing around in the club. And this was the night before, and he knew that he was going to plead the next morning. And he was at the club acting like nothing happened. That's snaky. That's you know what I'm saying? Like, you taking pictures with dudes. Like, their last moment with you is waking up in the morning, you pleading guilty. Like, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. But I'm gonna conclude with this. Like I said, I wasn't gonna take too much time on this one. It was just some more information that I wanted to bring to y'all prior till I conclude. At the end of the day, it's a sad story. I went around YouTube trying to, checking people opinions about it, and of course you got people going ham. They talk about Dr. Malachi York, which was one of his teachers, and everybody, if anybody knows about Dr. Malachi York, they say he was accused of child molestation and stuff like that. He had a little, I guess you could say, a little mini community down in Putnam County, Georgia. That's off of 20. I usually pass by it when I'm going home to my parents in South Carolina, Putnam County. And I got a partner that actually is from Putnam County. But back in the 90s, he got his spot raided. Dr. Malachi York had a little, it looked like he was trying to make a mini Egypt. But he was accused of that too. Been in jail ever since. The fact that he has sons out. Dr. Malachi York has a son. He was on Sinetta. He teaches and deals with a certain faith. And he says some weird stuff. Polite has done videos and said some weird stuff of the person that was actually accused of being molested by Dr. Malachi York. Polite did an interview with the guy, and the way Polite was responding was kind of red flaggish. It was suspect. And now everything comes to fruition when you look at it now. You know, Polite was, you know, it's hard to even think about the shit like, damn, nigga, you went out like that. Like, you went out bad. You went out bad. But anyway, I'm going to conclude on that. You know, I just wanted to bring that little information, you know, to the forefront. That's some information I got after the fact. So, but anyway, you know, it's been a while since I talked about, you know, one of my biggest subjects when I first started YouTube was flat earth. And it seems like the subject is kind of dying down a little bit. I don't know if it's the algorithms in YouTube. You know how they change the algorithms, and they're controlling it. They've been controlling the algorithms now for about 3 years now. So, you know, certain things, if you're not subscribed to a certain person that deals with that type of stuff, you're not gonna, it's not gonna come up. It's just not. Like, I don't see anything. I don't really see anything on YouTube right now dealing with flat earth or anything. And I know this might be a weird segue from, you know, Polite to this topic, but you know, it's been a while since I even spoke about it, and there's been some more key points. I don't even speak about it when I'm with my family, not with them, but when I'm chatting with them, you know, through Facebook and stuff like that. Like, we have little chat groups, we know, fantasy football and everything, so we chat about certain stuff. I'm done trying to wake people up, because I realize everyone's alarm clock goes off at a certain time, and you're just not woke. You're still in the matrix. Hell, I can still be in the matrix when it comes to certain things, but I'm going to still carry myself a certain way and always want to seek knowledge. That's the thing. I just feel like sometimes, you know, we're kind of like in a position to where we think we seeking knowledge, but we really just falling right back into the loophole. You know, especially when you're dealing with these fires. You know, you haven't really heard much about it. Just notice now with the news, you haven't really heard nothing more about the fires or anything. Are they still raging, or what's going on? And this is the stuff I be talking about. Like, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but it's mighty fishy to me that this fire started, and what they're telling us is that it happened because of a light pole fell, and it sparked the whole wildfire that's killing hundreds of thousands of acres of land. Like, I'm not saying that can't happen, but it got to be something more deeper than that. Like, you're just not gonna just catch me hook, line, and sinker with it when it comes to it. Like, I'm not saying whatever the narrative is not true. All I'm saying is that if it don't sound right, if somebody having a casual conversation with you and they say something crazy, you're gonna raise an eyebrow, and that's how some of this stuff looks like when I'm listening to the media and everybody else. It's like, I don't understand what y'all really like. Oh, okay. Then they said the guy that usually gives the signal for like a storm, like a hurricane or something like that, he never sounded off the alarm to the people to evacuate. But his only excuse is because it wasn't like a natural disaster, like a storm. Even though a wildfire, I guess he considered not being a natural disaster. This guy that was supposed to sound the alarm to the community never did it. And the only thing he could tell you was, oh, well, you know, I didn't think it was a tornado or a storm or something like that. That doesn't even make any sense. And we took that hook, line, and sinker. Like, everything is not a coincidence. We got to wake up from that. Like, again, I'm not saying what's happening is not happening in its own will. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is you got to give me a better explanation telling me how did this thing start. You ain't gonna just keep beating me over the head, keep telling me about, oh, something fell and then it sparked and then it just boom. Like, come on, man. It's power lines across this whole nation. If that was the case, you're not gonna sit up here and tell me that when a power line falls, which it does frequently, I don't know the rate of power lines falling, but I know out of this whole nation, they're falling, and I know they're not creating no wildfires. That wildfire thing over there in Hawaii is deeper than that, man. To me, it's deeper than that. This is dealing with the land. This is dealing with that governor or that person that's residing over that community was refusing to do something. Whatever that something is, I don't know. But you got to look at the patterns of how USA, even though that's our land, you could still reject if the Democrat is in office and you got a Republican over there, which I'm not sure if it's one not, but they're going to have issues. If Congress is mostly, if the House is more seated with Democrat, and if you got a Republican trying to come in and change something or not going against something, it's going to cause conflict. All I'm saying is that they're trying to, relate this to like Revelations in the Bible. I don't know. I don't know. Plagues, Corona is spiking again. Like, it's just weird. Like, it's weird. I don't really want to talk about that too much, even though, like I said, I appreciate all the subscribers I got, but I know this video may not go that viral for it to be taken down just because I said that, But what I'm saying is true. Like, I'm not giving a conspiracy behind it, even though I think it is. Like, obviously, like. But anyway, the fire thing, like, I haven't heard anything much about it, and that's my point that I'll be making sometimes, like how things come and go. We talk along with the news. We don't believe certain stuff. Like, I be seeing stuff on YouTube and like these stations I be hitting, these channels I be hitting, and it shows you that most all news media sound the same. They put all their videos together, and they were basically saying the same quote, the same everything. They were saying the same thing. They quoted the same lines in every pandemic. They quoted the same lines. It's almost like they're training you. Subconsciously, this is doing something to you, and we don't realize it. It's a subconscious act, and we relate, or we move from our subconscious, and we don't think so. We move consciously too, but our subconscious controls a lot of the stuff we do too. That's why we adapt to a lot of the music that's out right now. It ain't nothing positive. That was all created, a certain people came in and they started controlling the radio waves, and they changed what you listen to on the radio. It's crazy how you don't hear nothing uplifting when it comes to a rap song on the radio. That's crazy. It's crazy. It's like, where has hip hop gone? You know what I'm saying? Like, where has hip hop gone? You know what I'm saying? That's my only question. You know what I'm saying? Like, they started weeding people out. Then they make you feel guilty when you are a little older trying to do music. They make you feel guilty trying to make it a young man's game, and all they doing is look at the cycle that's going on when it comes to rap. The killings, like, it's just too much going on. You know what I'm saying? we distracted too much. You know, and just in a one day, you hear so much information, you be like, man. But I'm just freelancing. I ain't gonna be on here too much longer. You know, I just wanted to touch on a couple things, you know. But as far as the flat earth thing, before I conclude, like, I mean, you know, like the situation is it's not dead in the sense of talking about it. It's the sense of trying to, well, I don't even want to say trying to prove it. It's already been proven. At this point, a globalist will have to, you know, they will have to prove their side of the story, because what they have to understand is that the same school of thought that you had, I had the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I grew up under the same school of thought you had. Like, what make you think that my school of thought is different than yours? When we were growing up, I'm just starting to put two and two together, and I'm starting to look around, and I'm like, yo, I don't think we're moving, for one. Now, regardless if you can say what the shape of the earth is, to say it's moving, and the only thing you could bring up is sundials, which doesn't even make sense, because the sun will have to be actually moving, because a sundial is based off the shadow of the sun. The only thing that could cause that shadow is the object moving. It's not the actual object that's on the ground moving. That doesn't make any sense. If that's the case, then it will cast the same shadow on a sundial. The same shadow will cast, because if you're saying that the sun is stationary and the ground is moving, that will mean that sundial shadow, that it would have the same shadow going around. That shadow should not move. That shadow size should stay the same. I'm saying, if you're saying that the sun is stationary, think about it. It's just basic. It's just little stuff like that you can ask people, and you'll go over their head so much they just freak out. They don't even, the rebelliousness start to come out, if that's even a word. They just start to become rebellious. They start to want to rebut what you're saying, and they even sink a deeper hole in what they're trying to say. It doesn't even make any sense. A sundial stays on the ground. The object that is dialing, that's what moves and causes the shadow to move a certain way on the sundial. And I don't even have one, but you could just use common sense. But because somebody told you this, a scientist, we like that word, scientist. Soon we so trained, as soon as we hear the word scientist, a scientist said it. we get hypnotized. Because a scientist said something. A scientist. He ain't did nothing but got indoctrinated. That's it. The only people that can discover dinosaur bones are archaeologists and people. This is what I don't get. And I heard this from somewhere. I'm not going to even really take credit for this. But how can the people that inhabited a land for, you say, hundreds of thousands of years, but we can't discover not one dinosaur bone, but yet people that ain't even from that land can come in and find dinosaur bones? You don't think that's strange? Think about that. The people that's been in Africa, let's just say, regardless of anywhere, but let's just say Africa, because that's where they find these stuff at now. You're telling me the people that's been there for hundreds of thousands of years, maybe even millions, I don't know. I'm talking about as far as Homo sapiens sapien, I'm just going to say hundreds of thousands of years. And you telling me that those people couldn't find any type of evidence of a dinosaur or any other species, or even finding Lucy, they want to hit you in the head with Lucy. Not understanding that that's Darwinism. It's like, I don't know what it's going to take, for us to wake up. Like, we're in a matrix. This is like a simulation for real. You got to kind of like take a deep breath and just stand still for a minute and just understand that everything that's going on around us, this ain't all meant to be. Like, this is constructed. This is a construction of what we're dealing with. But I'm not gonna keep y'all too long. I just wanted to come in, chit chat for y'all for a minute. You know, while I'm in traffic, I'm almost home, you know what I'm saying? But this is how I like to kill time, because, you know, I'll be having a lot of thoughts. When you're driving, especially in traffic, you're gonna have a lot of thoughts roll through your mind. So I'm just coming as raw as possible. Like, subscribe. Just come all spontaneous views. Y'all already know.